Hello, I'm Ben McCoy, the Design and Creative Director for OpenY. Today, we're excited to show you what's new with the January 12th updates to Virtual Y. Our latest improvements should not only make future updates easier and more stable, but should provide a strong foundation for new and better experiences moving forward. Best of all, we're also excited to introduce some new features customers are sure to love today. And so it's my pleasure to hand you over to Paige, the Virtual Y Product Manager, who will give you a quick demo on all the good stuff coming your way. Thank you and Happy New Year.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, so today we're going to take a look at some of the changes that you can expect that are coming to Virtual Y in early 2021. So on my screen, we have our rows template for Virtual Y, but all of these changes are available across all three themes within OpenY. So when we first log into our homepage, we're going to see some changes right out of the gate. So the first one is there's now a secondary navigation menu that's styled a little more professionally and has some links that are going to be a lot more useful to your members than the ones that currently exist today. Secondly, there's now a headline banner that allows you to promote popular classes or formats, as well as maybe you have something new that you just want everyone to be aware of when they first log in. This is your space to just market and promote whatever you think is most important to your members within your Virtual Y. Scrolling down, we'll see that the tiles also have a bit of a change to their aesthetic. So our on-demand content are now in black tiles, and our live streams and virtual meetings, our upcoming content, are white tiles. So that allows members just at a glance to kind of tell, like, is it an upcoming or is it an on-demand event? And they're just styled differently with information that members would need when they're looking at things quickly. So for our videos, it's important to know, how long is this workout going to take, who's the instructor, and, just kind of the final polished thumbnail for that. For our live streams, we might not have a thumbnail yet, so those can certainly be added, but the default is that the data about the live stream is going to be more relevant than an image. So, what date is this going to happen? What time is it going to air? And, what's the duration expected to be? Who's leading it? And then this nice little countdown timer that tells us, how many hours and minutes it is away. And so for something that's maybe really far off in the future, rather than it being the numerical timer, we see that it's just, starts in, 3 days, 10 hours, just so that we don't have to sit here and do this math manually. So back to our secondary navigation, our first link we'll see is our live schedule. And so this is a new feature where rather than it being just a single day view, we've expanded it to a 7-day view that a user can also just, kind of scroll through to see what's coming up in the following weeks. The current day, though, is highlighted so I don't lose my place of, what day is it? Since sometimes the days can feel the same, can't they? But the other cool thing about this is we combine now our live streams and our virtual meetings categories into one comprehensive live events calendar so that your members don't have to kind of hunt and find for information in different places anymore. It's all in one place. And from within here, then we see these little heart icons. We saw those on the homepage dashboard as well. But these heart icons, so that I can very easily add it to my favorites dashboard, which is what we'll take a look at next. If I wanted to add these 3 things, they'll go right in there. So then when I log in here, now this is a custom place just for me. So it's our first step towards that a more custom content experience for our members. And the content items of all 4 content types as well as categories can easily be added here just by clicking the heart icons. And it'll live here until I decide I don't want it to, with the exception of our live streams and virtual meetings, because if I really am into the live streams, that could get cluttered pretty fast with live streams that have occurred in the past and I can't watch them anymore. So our live events will automatically disappear to help keep my dashboard clean, but videos and blogs will stay here until I decide I don't want that anymore. So I just simply would click the heart icon again, it'll fade away. Next time I navigate here, that would be gone, or else if I have no plans to go anywhere, I could just refresh the page and now that item is gone. So we think favorites is going to be a really great way for members to further engage with content and revisit some favorite videos that they've taken in the past, and just make it easier to keep track of things they liked and continue to have a premium experience with you and your why. The next item on our menu then is that categories page. So we see those all laid out here. They also then have those heart icons. So I could add those to my favorites dashboard. But the kind of new and exciting thing about that is we have now combined all 4 content types under single categories. So we see here yoga has both live streams coming up and videos. If it had virtual meetings or blogs about that, those would appear here as well. So rather than me having to navigate to the yoga category for videos and the yoga category for live streams to see kind of everything, this gives me a really nice snapshot of all things yoga happening in my virtual Y. And this is just because we know most people tend to have, maybe 2 or 3 formats that they gravitate towards most. And so this makes it easy for them to stay up to date on anything new or upcoming within those categories that they really enjoy from your Y. If we click into one of these, we'll see there's just some minor aesthetic tweaks that have been made. So the background now matches the black tile. For live streams, it would be a white background to match the white tile of those events, but my video is still at the top, followed by a description and some important information over here in this kind of secondary column. The only new thing here is now I can also just add it to my favorites from here. And if I were to then look at one of these live streams, we would see that I have 2 options. So I've already favorited this and it remembers that, but I can also then still add it to my calendar. We've changed that to be an icon to better match the heart icon rather than the current button that says add to calendar on it. So finally, that brings us to a couple of changes you can expect in the back end for you as a Y content admin. So these are all the changes that your customers can expect, but if we log out here, we can see some changes that you can make. So let me just get my credentials in here real quick. And we'll head back and see what's going on back in there. So the first thing to note is categories can now be much more easily changed in order. So if we remember back when we were looking at that categories page with the tiles, we had bar and strength and health at the top. And maybe that's because that's the order that I had created them back when I first set up my virtual Y. But these 3 aren't my most popular categories in terms of my content and what my members like. Maybe my members really like yoga and Pilates and boot camp. And so those are my top 3 performers. I want those to be listed first. So as we could see, you have to drag and drop over these kind of cross icons. If you do it over here, you see my mouse does not have that same functionality. But if I click over on these, I can drag and drop them up, reorder them however. But if I hit save, then it'll tell me that my configuration options are saved. We're good to go. So if we navigate back to our site, then we will see my categories are in the new order that I indicated. So now I have yoga boot camp, and I think when I was playing with bar, I must have pushed that to the top. But so then those are my 3 top categories now as I had dragged those around. The second thing to note is sometimes it's pretty popular to have our videos stored on YouTube in private playlists, but when copying and pasting those URLs, YouTube has kind of a string on that address that would indicate it's part of a playlist, just so that YouTube knows. But when we would try to pull it into Virtual Y, it wouldn't always work and cause some crazy things. But we now can say that we offer support for that. So if I say I want to add content, and it's going to be a video, we'll see when I go to add my media that YouTube playlist is now in my supported fields. So this, to clarify, this doesn't mean that I can pull entire playlists in one shot into my Virtual Y. It just means that if I copy a URL in here that has a string from YouTube that says it's part of a playlist, Virtual Y will no longer get confused. It will be able to understand what you're trying to do, and it will correctly pull that singular video in, saving you time and hopefully a little bit of sanity. The final piece is a new auto logout feature. So that's going to live here under Virtual Y YMCA settings, and this allows me to set a time limit for my users' accounts to expire, and so then they'll have to log in again. And so this can be a measure that you might want to enact to just kind of keep things secure. Maybe you want to set your limit to refresh daily, just in case someone has a membership on one day and then cancels it, so then you log them out and know on day 1 that their membership is terminated, they no longer have access. It's kind of up to you how you want to use this. So a fun Drupal quirk is everything is measured in seconds. I guess measure every moment, as they say. So you'll have to do a little bit of math in here, but I will tell you the default 7,200 seconds equals 2 hours. So if that's too short for you, you don't like that, feel free to break out the calculator and bump that up. I believe that 24 hours is 86,400 seconds. So we could say that, and so every 24 hours then someone would be kicked out of Virtual Y and would have to re-enter their credentials to interact with you again. But this is an optional feature where if it makes sense for your Y and your business plan, it will now be here for you to use. But if you don't want it, it can be disabled, and members can just continue to be authenticated once they sign in. So that is the summary of things you can expect in January. So Ben and I hope you are as excited as we are. We made all of these changes in response to feedback that we got from Ys just like you. So if there's anything else that could be maybe modified or new features that you would love to see added to Virtual YMCA, please do let us know. And we will do our best to implement those as quickly as we're able. And finally, just connect with your digital agency or partner on when these updates will be available for your Virtual Y. And we can't wait to hear what you think. Thank you.